Good morning. I'm Joel Miller. I'm the interim minister here at the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, and I'm so delighted to welcome you all this morning, you intrepid in-person attendees. This crazy rain out there. I didn't wear my jacket, and I'm not going to now because I'm actually soaking wet. No complaints. It's nice to have the rain. It's fascinating. I live in an apartment complex in Madison, and this little complex kept the stream that was originally came out of a spring at the highest point in town, and the spring is still there, and the water runs through the complex, and at the edge of the property of the complex, it goes into this cavern, this concrete box that somebody built, and it goes underground for a long time. I was one of those kinds of kids that used to say, I want to know where the box goes, and I'd go crawl down in there, and I'd walk as far as I could and see the little side pipes that would come in bringing water from various parts of streets or who knows where. And one of the things I really enjoyed was once followed one of those caverns right to the river that was not too far from my home. Water is a powerful thing. I come out of this underground tunnel, this box. Later in the season, we had some huge rains, and that box right at the riverbank was ripped off of its foundations and was about 25 feet past where it was, and there's a gaping hole. And I've always remembered that moment when I saw that enormous piece of concrete lifted and thrown by the forces of the water, forces of nature, what water can do. Today is the day we celebrate our water communion, the gathering of the waters. It's part of what we do when we begin the new year of congregational life that we begin today. And it seemed like a great opportunity to read a poem by Lucille Clifton, one of my favorite poets. The Mississippi River empties into the Gulf, and the Gulf enters the sea, and so forth. None of them emptying anything. All of them carrying yesterday forever on their white-tipped backs. All of them dragging forward tomorrow. It's the great circulation of the earth's body, like the blood of the gods. This river in which the past is always flowing. Every water is the same water coming around. Every day someone is standing on the edge of this river, staring into time, mistakenly whispering, only here, only now. When we do the water communion later, I'm going to include this bottle of water. And in this water, I collect some of the water from every water communion I've been involved with for about 23 years. So Buffalo, New York, Corvallis, Oregon, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Canton, New York, Rochester, New York. In a jar of water this small, there are molecules from the blood of dinosaurs, molecules from the body of Muhammad or Jesus or Mother Teresa, molecules of our ancestors, molecules of any river that has ever flown on the face of this world. Statistically, a high probability, a very high probability, if you're doing the math. So even if you picked some of the water up today from one of the ushers, or you're just coming up and pouring water in, well, just by standing next to it today, as humid as it is, there'll be some water molecules going in there. There's nothing you can do about it. We are interconnected. And the symbolism of the water is what we remember as we celebrate our ingathering this morning. If you haven't had a chance and you would like, we have blue cards. You can fill one out. We will collect these during the offering. Everybody's invited. Good morning and welcome.
Welcome, friends, new and old. Welcome to our shared journey of spirit. We're grateful you're with us this morning. I'm Dan Reedy, a member of the Board of Trustees, and I'm so pleased to welcome you to this year's Ingathering service. We're a community that looks for connections. Connections between generations is why we cherish our children and youth. And so we welcome the sound of babies and children among us. We dream of the day that the cooing babies here, and sometimes the wailing babies, will someday be our teachers or our activists for justice or caring for us when we're hurt or healing or singing or speaking to raise our spirits. And we cherish our elders who have built and nurtured this spiritual home for us and the mentoring they offer us from their years of lived experience. If our children, youth, or families have any questions about our religious education program, Nick Woolwork is our Director of Religious Education. He's here today to welcome you. He's right back there. Our choir is starting a new season after the summer break, and rehearsals begin this Thursday. You can find out more from our music director, Michael Rosen, about our choir. Potluck lunch follows the ingathering service. Don't worry if you didn't bring anything. There's plenty of food for everybody. Please stay for lunch and fellowship. And we're holding a blood drive this morning. If you made an appointment, you can walk through the rain to the Red Cross mobile unit in the parking lot. Next week is our ceremonial groundbreaking for the new edition, this Sunday, September 17th at 11:15, right after our 10:30 service. Wear your work boots. And please join us now for this morning's affirmation as we light our chalice. Thank you.
When I was putting that together for Dan, I forgot to mention that we do have one announcement from the Ministerial Search Committee.
No matter how they toss the dice, it had to be the only one for me is you, and you for me. So happy together.
Coming soon, another important step in our congregation's search for a new minister. Cottage meetings at members' homes where you can explore and express your own ideas about our ministerial search, as well as hear from others about qualities of the fellowship that are most important to our members, and about key qualities we should be seeking in our congregation's ministerial candidates. MUF has over 350 members and friends living in a wide span of towns all over Morris County and out in the surrounding areas. So, there will be small cottage meetings at many different times and places, some close to where you live. If none of those work for you, we will also host some on Sundays at the fellowship, plus a few on Zoom. We'll share those times later, but today, Ingathering Sunday, our sign-up board for cottage meetings will be at a table in the Great Hall during coffee hour. You can also sign up during our groundbreaking celebration next Sunday, September 17th, or online using a link you should have received by email this week. So, you can also sign up electronically for the day, time, and location you prefer. There's limited space for each meeting, so be sure to sign up as soon as you can. Come along for the journey as we search for a new settled minister to become a part of our beloved UU community.
online, I invite you to now share in the affirmation that's in our order of service. And Charlie Davis will light our chalice as we share in our affirmation.
Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Beth Wilson is here today. Michael Rosen is away and will be back next Sunday. And good to have you here, Beth. And I understand we sing this often as we gather in here at the fellowship. See you in September. Was it who sang it in '66? The Happenings. Okay, so this is fun. So I invite you to stand in body or spirit, whether online or here, as we sing together.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Nick. I'm the Director of Religious Education. If you have questions about children, youth, or adult RE, come find me. Also, I can fix technology because I'm the youngest. I want to call our youngest members forward right now. I need to talk with you about some things. So we're going to sit over on this side of the table, if that's all right. So come on up. Charlotte, Eric, Alice. Yes. Come on up. Very good. Here. You can sit down here. You want to sit up? Let's see here. This is good. I need a... I'm getting old. Come on over here. You can sit over here. Sit over here. All right. Charlotte, come on over here. You want to sit over here, Olivia? No? Yeah? Okay. Hey, this is our new friend, Olivia. Okay. Very cool. Okay. Can you just not? Thank you. All right. So let me ask you a question. What are we doing right now? What are we in? What is this place? It's a room. It's round. It's a hexagon? No, okay. These kids are smarter than me. Yeah? We're in the parish hall? Well, we're in the meeting room, and what are we doing in the meeting room? What are we doing? Singing. Now, you can be honest with me. Ignore all of these people and that guy over there. Do you guys like this? Is this fun for you right now? Yes? Yes? No. You can be honest. It's fine. You're going to hurt my feelings. So listen, I agree. When I was your age, I used to think going to church was the worst. It was so boring. Ugh, it was awful. We sang these hymns, and in my church we had this organ, but it wasn't a good organ. It was... Now, and our music director was very good, but it was like, it was bad, and you sing through this like kind of thick book, and, it was boring, and then the preacher would come up and talk. We did our announcements. This is crazy. I never suggest we do this here. Our minister would come down in the middle and say, does anyone have an announcement? And then all the people who thought they had an announcement would just stand up and talk. Talk and talk and talk forever. Does that sound fun? No, it sounds boring. Right? It doesn't sound like fun for them. But I figured something out, and I want to share this trick with you. So the other thing about my church growing up, I grew up in a Presbyterian church, not a Unitarian church, but we had a lot of folks who I think would have hung out with a lot of the folks here. They listened to a lot of the same kind of music, and they also had a lot of guitar players in there. Our music director played guitar, our pastor played guitar, and we had a couple other folks who played guitar. So they had this thing called the guitar choir. And every Sunday, for the first 2 songs, we sang 4 songs every Sunday, because we had a very strict order. The first 2 songs were, that's right. The first 2 songs were played, and the guitar choir would lead them. Now, I got myself a guitar because my dad likes The Who. Do you guys know who The Who is? No. Some of these people do, right? Yeah. There we go. Good. Okay. So, my dad likes that band, and I wanted to be Pete Townsend. He was the guitarist of The Who, and he was very famous for smashing his guitars. I didn't smash guitars, because they're very expensive. But I wanted to play guitar. So my dad, who never learned to play guitar himself, but loved music, which was a great benefit to me and my siblings, went and bought me a guitar when I was 12 years old, and I started to learn how to play it, and I was terrible at it. It's very hard. You got to like press really hard on these strings, and they hurt your fingers, and your fingers will start to bleed, and you got to like memorize all this stuff. It's awful. It's very hard. So listen, let me tell my story. So I put the guitar away. I said, this isn't for me. I'm not going to be Pete Townsend. I'm certainly not going to sing like Roger Daltrey. Maybe I'll play drums, but I don't know. I'm going to put it away, and I went and played football or something. About a year later, right, there was this guitar choir happening in my church. And one of the gentlemen who played was also a youth advisor, and he knew that I had a guitar, and he said, you should come and play guitar with us. And I said, I don't know how to play guitar, but I have one. And he said, that's fine. Come on over here. We'll play. There's some easy songs that only play a couple of simple chords, and we'll play it. And I joined them, and they were very welcoming, and there was people of all sorts of skills, right? This youth advisor, he was very gifted, but our pastor, he was just okay. There were some people who were not so great, and there was me who was just learning. Can we get that? And so I played for a while. Alex, can we get that picture? Yeah, there I am in the middle. Look how cool I was. Yeah. So that was after. So that was afterwards. That's my pastor. That's some other folks. Yeah. So after a while, I learned how to play guitar, and we played with them. And let me tell you something about the service. It wasn't boring anymore. Because here's what I learned when I learned to play guitar. The more you participate in something, the more fun it is. The closer you sit up front, right? When you guys come up here, you guys like coming up here and talking with me because you get to sit up front, right? The more you sit up front, the more you participate, the more fun it is. So here's what we're doing. This year, I really believe that's really important for you guys to be part of the service for as much as you can, right? So throughout this year, I'll talk more about RE next week. We're going to do RE before the service because I want you guys to stay in. Now, we have activities for you. We have activity bags. Who got an activity bag? Anyone out front there? Can you guys remember to return all that stuff so people have them for next week? Those aren't for yours to keep home. We'll have them here every week, right? And we want you to be in here because we think that you are important to the life of this fellowship. And the more you participate, so the more you sing the songs, right? So if you can read, sing the songs, right? You can sing along and pay attention to what Reverend Joel says, because he's got some pretty smart things to say, right? and maybe I'll start quizzing you guys on it, or in a good way. I'll get like prizes and stuff, okay? Yeah, if you pay attention. All right, does this sound good? Because we're in here, this is what we do together. You know, I was talking to Reverend Joel about this, and he said, this is the, what'd you say? This is the sacrament of the ritual of my people. That's what he said. And this is where we all come together once a week, old folks and young folks, and all sorts of people in between. And we come together in community. And that's really what we're doing here. That's what's super important about the fellowship and what we're doing here. Building a welcoming and loving community. So, you guys participate, and it'll be part of it, and it'll be super fun, and we love that you're here. All right? Sounds good? Let's go sit down and keep participating. Does it sound good with your families? If you need an activity bag, you can go get one. They're in the back. Okay? All right? Sounds good. All right, let's go.
I love having all the ages in the service. And I confess that when my son, who's now 32, but when he was really little, he would sometimes say, Dad, are you going to be the sermon guy at church today? And maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. And he'd say, well, I hope you do good today, because sometimes, Dad, blah, blah, blah. My hope is that almost every Sunday will be anything but that. But we have these times of milestones, passages, gratitudes. I'm grateful, for example, for the youth and the children that are in the service here. I'm grateful for the elders who mentored me when I was a teen. I'm grateful for the elders who got this building and have built this community of people over the generations. And I'm grateful for all of you so generous as the ground is being prepared for the new wing. I'm going to be grateful for the moment next Sunday when we take most of this water and bless that earth as a part of the dedication service. There's much to be grateful for here. We do gratitudes during this time just because it's always best spiritual practice. If you don't know what to do, you don't know where you are, where to start with gratitude. What are you grateful for? Another gratitude this morning from Kale. I am grateful for my mom for buying me new toys. Passages also and milestones that we experience. Difficult passages, just even today, the people in the mountains near Marrakesh in Morocco. A terrible earthquake there. Thousands of people died, and thousands now at risk without clean water, food, even shelter. We will continue to keep them in our meditations and prayers. And a passage that all of us experienced 22 years ago tomorrow on September 11th, 2001, just remembering the terrorist attacks there and how that changed our lives. I invite you now to sit quietly together. Put your feet solidly on this floor, the earth right below it. Join me in a moment of meditation. In the midst of a world marked by tragedy and beauty, there must be those who bear witness against unnecessary destruction, those who with faith rise and lead in freedom, with grace, with power. There must be those who speak honestly and do not avoid seeing what must be seen of sorrow and outrage or tenderness and wonder. There must be those whose grief, whose sorrows troubles the water, even as their voices sing and speak and refresh the world. There must be those whose exuberance rises an energy that articulates the joy of being alive. There must be those who are restless for respect, for loving connection among human beings. There must be those who invite all of us to be ourselves without fear. And there must be those who gather as a congregation of remembrance and compassion, who draw water from old wells and new, and walk the simple path of love. There must be communities of people who seek to do justice, who love kindness, and walk humbly with the holy, whatever name that goes by for them. Those who call on the strength of soul force to heal, transform, and bless life. We have been and we will be those people, each in our own way. Amen. So be it. Blessed be. I love this song from the African American tradition in the 1800s, a song that people sang to help them get through very difficult situations and very difficult times. And with gratitude, our choir now comes up and sings, "We're going to sit at the welcome table." And I might, out of my own enthusiasm, join in with them. And maybe you could too. I got so excited about singing that song that I forgot to say, "Oh, we're going to collect those blue cards." So, if our ushers, I see some of our ushers out there. If anybody has blue cards, collect those. Just keep collecting them while I'm talking, because the most important thing that's happening today is we're together. I love that poem by Lucille Clifton. She writes about how water is the great circulation of the Earth's body. We were kind of circulating a lot this morning, I think. I'm still feeling that circulation. My arms are soaked. But you know, we're a congregation that loves this earth. We're working on, in fact, becoming a green sanctuary congregation, something you'll learn more about here in the months to come. And we think of life as interconnected. You know, there's something about this water that we gather. I mean, if you're like me, I grew up very much appreciating science as a part of my spirituality. I grew up Unitarian Universalist. And I know there's no kind of real thing that happens when you pour the water in. Sure, it's statistically very likely that there are molecules from all those rivers, like I said, or from all our ancestors, or famous prophets of all the religions, or even dinosaurs. But it is a symbol, and there's something very real about that. We use signs and symbols everywhere. There's the symbol of there's this chalice with a flame. It's a symbol. There's another one specific to this fellowship, the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Those letters up there themselves are kinds of symbols. And what we're doing when we pour the water in is a symbol that reminds us of what brings us together. That reminds us even of the reality of being alive on the earth, that everything is interconnected. I was in the church I grew up in, there was actually a symbol, a sign on the refrigerator door. And it was, I liked the symbol especially, and actually my mom liked the symbol even more than I did because she liked to take care of the kitchen at church. And it said, we Unitarian Universalists were responsible for our own beliefs and our own dishes. A sign can have a name on it, instructions on it, but there's something specific to a symbol that makes it unique. It doesn't just tell us to do something. A symbol is actually something that we do, perhaps in our minds. It's symbolic that we gather in this meeting room every Sunday. It's symbolic that we reach out to the larger world because it's a representation of what we believe about our existence and being interconnected. And to bless those interconnections with love, with compassion, symbols of beloved community, symbols of fellowship, symbols that we are doing social justice to make the world a better place, that even as we build and had to move some trees, we're going to plant a lot more trees, and we're going to use that space to make this world a better place and to care for it and all of the environments in it. We're glad that our children are here. Their voices, symbols of the future we're building for. We choose to love life, to practice hope. And we sing and we worship together. We pour this water together. So what's important about the word symbol? I want to riff a little bit on the word symbol because the word symbol in English comes to us through 2,000 years, more than 2,000 years, and very different lands. It was originally an ancient Greek word, symboline, which means to throw with or put together. The ancient Greeks prefix sim, meaning with, and the Greek word baline, which means to throw, put, or cast, almost like the word ballistic, probably connected in some way. So this is why the water ceremony is one of my favorite religious symbols. It only exists when we actually do it together in the moment. And it's about the closest meaning I can think of for this word symbol, to put together, to bring together, to cast our lives as one in community. Now, this is where it really gets interesting for me because in ancient Greek, the opposite word of symboline was diaboline, and the root of the word diabolic. Now, if you look the word up diabolic in the dictionary, it says That's a very bad thing. Things that are diabolical are very bad. And then it will go on to explain, because those bad things, they're devilish, or the devil is the root meaning of the word diaboline, which is actually not quite true. Like the word symbolic, an ancient Greek word with a prefix and a root, to throw together, to cast our lots, so to speak, together. Diabolic meant to throw against, to throw across. And the Greeks understood that to mean to lie about someone. Somebody was connecting and making their way into the world, and you would throw something across it to break the connection. Yeah, the dictionary does say it means devilish, and that's how people came to understand this throwing against, this libeling others. That's a fancy word. May not understand what it means, but to say something about someone that appears to be untrue. Interestingly enough, if you go back to the ancient Hebrew in the Bible, the word Satan appears. Hasatan specifically, the Satan. Or in Hebrew, what that meant was the accuser, the libeler, the perhaps liar. Hasatan in Hebrew was an angel of heaven. And the Hasatan would do mean things or tell lies about people to see if he could make them become liars or make them become cruel also. To be diabolical was, and still is, to lie. Or perhaps as we understand it in the water communion, to be diabolical is to break apart what is connecting us, what connects us to the earth, what connects us to each other, what connects us to the future of our children. So the pouring of the water, the symbol in this act that we do together, reminds us we really are connected. And when we start from there, it is so much more possible to mend the world, to repair relationships, to do justice. And so even in the little, if you've got a little vial from us this morning, or you brought a vial of water, or just because I love the symbology of it, in this bottle, water from Unitarian Universalist congregations in Buffalo, New York, Kent, New York, Rochester, New York. And yet, water people had brought from their homes, maybe the wading pool in their backyards, or maybe a hospital. There's water here from jails. There's water here from nursing homes. There's water here from places far and near. The web is real. The connections are real, even if the symbol is just a reminder of that reality. And from this jar and the water we collect, that water will return to the earth and flow through the bodies of our descendants, spiritual or biological or familial. Water surrounds us before we are born. And our mothers knew from the water that flowed from her body that it was time to be born. As I remembered at the beginning of the service, water can have a fearsome power, and it can have a healing power. We pour water into our common bowl this morning, celebrating the interconnected web of life and our commitment to connect in love, in joy, in justice. And in doing so, let it be that we also give thanks for this fellowship, for each of the people who came before us and who will follow us. Even for those who haven't yet been born, who will sit in this room, learn in these rooms, and celebrate together in the True Family Hall in this new edition. We're pouring out for all that sings and laughs and loves. Let our lives flow like the spirit of life in which we all live. We still have some, oh, there we go. The president of the congregation, Paul Firm's going to come up. Yeah, if there's any more, Dan would be happy to get those for you. Janet Horst is going to collect some as well. And as we read, we are going to invite you to bring any water that you have brought, whether it is simply molecules from your breathing or whether you have water to pour into the vessel. You are invited to come up and participate in the symbol of the water communion. And what I'd like you to do is come up and come to the chalice table. Why don't we come up in two lines here? One line on this side, one line from that side. And then as you go back, please go back around off to the sides. Come on up. This water represents my home sweet home.
Pittsburgh vacation, Cape May Point, rain for Morristown, Universalist.
This water represents life, a gift and a blessing.
Costa Rica and the tears for family and humanity.
This water represents the best drinking water flavor we were blessed with at our new-ish home.
Missy, the water is from the campsite where we went as a family and connected with nature.
From Nan Perigo, well water from our new home.
Linda DeLapp, Rhode Island, where my sister and brother-in-law live. Seawater from a trip to Roger Wheeler State Beach.
This is ice that is melted and keeping me cool and used on swelling body parts. May you heal fast. Home. Home, where I live and who I am.
Jake is invoking MUUF.
Enjoying the Jersey Shore with our kids.
Summer solstice rituals, sand pictures, and water collecting in Raritan Bay.
From David and Janet Horst, visit to Crater Lake with Alan and his girlfriend, Alan.
Gulf of Mexico in Tallahassee, Florida, celebrating Kevin's return home after 3 months due to open heart surgery.
Seaside Heights.
From Helene and Paul, the Ocean Beach, Atlantic Beach, New York, swimming, boarding, and body surfing.
Yeah, I'm going to add surfing the waves. That was a lot of fun. I forgot my water, but the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship Greeter had extra and shared it, which symbolizes so much of my experience at MUF.
Oh, and here's for Kylie and Jenna, pouring their water right now, which I saw them collect outside when they were getting poured on. This water connects us all.
Star Island, where we go every June for Arts Week.
Every time I turn on a faucet, I am grateful for the clean and safe water.
From Bob and Bob Peterson and Julie. Thank you, Julie. Water from Iceland. Laura Alpert, 2 of America's majestic rivers, the Hudson and the Delaware.
It's from the Davis family, sharing water from ice cubes, which their dogs love to eat.
From our home.
From our home, to grow our family and plant our roots.
From Barb Pekka, 27 years of family vacations on Lake George.
From the Rice family, Ortley Beach, Florham Park Town Pool.
From Nancy Lee McClure, virtual water from Sotero, Vermont to Lake Champlain.
Acadia National Park, the beauty of mountain, sea, and wildlife.
Water from Florida and the Atlantic Ocean when I travel through for my son's Flynn's memory.
And this is from Debbie Rice, sharing Waters of Hot Springs, Arkansas, and the Shrine, Czestochowa in PA.
From John and Susie Farrell, and who are members of the First Unitarian Church in Rochester, New York. Joel led us for 3 great years, and now they're here visiting. Glad to have you guys here.
Like Solomon smiles. From the Deschutes River, Bend, Oregon, near where I grew up.
From Barbara Kostel-Anastasiak, August sunsets on Barnegat Bay with extended family.
Dan, Mary, Danny, and Cleona.
Cleona.
Home.
Diane Kozlow, A Visit to Transylvania, Romania, the birthplace of Unitarian Universalism. And actually, Diane mentioned that she spoke with the minister of our partner congregation there. Met him. You met him. Yeah, that's great.
Another place where I grew up, Dillon has a St. Joe River in Idaho.
And somebody else wrote, ice cubes, our dog's favorite treat. We're even connected to the animals here this morning. There are 1,000, more than 1,000 Unitarian Universalist congregations celebrating this very morning. Some at this very moment, some in the next hour or two, some in Alaska or Hawaii that'll be celebrating later today, some in Africa that have celebrated already, which was yesterday for us, and some in the Philippines that will celebrate much later today, maybe even tomorrow for us. Like every stream that meets its river, like every river that meets its ocean, like every ocean that meets the sky, like every raindrop returns to the earth. A circle of water flows through the earth and calls us again to rejoin and reconnect in life and love. And in times like these, when we gather our waters in love, times like these when storms bring struggle, maybe even danger, let our gathering of waters remind us to speak with love instead of fear, to speak with compassion instead of anger, to connect in compassion even though our paths and the water flowing around us may be flowing across jagged, dangerous places. And in this place for this moment, may it flow peacefully through us. And in those times when we come together feeling desert dry, may we remind one another, we can again here drink deeply from life and love and reunite once again in the interconnected existence in which we have all come to life. From this ocean of being, whether the water came from kitchen sinks or fellowship kitchen or backyard play pools or Iceland or Romania and Unitarians there, let our lives flow now as a communion of love and compassion. And as these waters are joined together as one, and as they will bless the earth of this place we make for future generations, may our love rise to great heights and lead our world to flow all together with love. Let's sing together. Number 360, here we have gathered. The words will be here on the screen. I invite you to stand in body or spirit as we bless the water and begin our fellowship year together now. There's a potluck lunch that follows the service. You didn't bring anything, stay with us and join us. We're so glad you're here. And now, go in peace. Let your life be a spring of compassion, and keep your ear and heart a home for the Spirit of life. And as you go, may the Spirit of love surround you and flow from you everywhere and with everyone. Go in peace, be in peace. Good to be here.